Damn, what gave it away? Though to be honest, I'm not sure anymore, and here's why. When I was 3 years old, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, and at the time this was considered on the autistic spectrum, although at the very bottom of the spectrum. Think of it like the Nando's spice chart. Asperger's was all the way on the edge of extra mild. But nowadays I hear that Asperger's has its own little category. It's separate from autism. It's not on the spectrum. I'm not 100% sure personally, but I've always considered it to be on the spectrum. So when people ask me, I say yes. Funny story actually. My parents at the time had no knowledge of the autistic spectrum. At a very young age, I was a very hyperactive child. I had very bizarre behaviour patterns. I had no concept of personal space. If there was something that I enjoyed, I would literally spend the entire day doing that one task. No pauses, no breaks. I'd have a lot of tantrums, and naturally, teachers thought I was a very bad behaved child, and so did my parents. They just didn't know what was wrong. In fact, and this may sound a little bit psycho, this is the first time I'm actually acknowledging that child as me, because I've done my absolute damnedest to shrug off any acknowledgement of it ever happening. It was another person entirely. Carrying on with the story, this is all from what my parents have told me, by the way. The headmistress of my primary school observed my behaviour patterns, recognised that a friend of hers had a son who showed the exact same behaviour patterns when they were my age at the time. And it turned out he was autistic. In some ways, she spotted it straight away. She recommended to my parents that I got tested, did the tests. Your child has Asperger's syndrome. I did not know about this until I was 14 years old. I had the feeling that there was something different about me, but I never knew what it was. And any time I tried to ask the question, it was immediately shut down. And when I found out, I was pissed. It's probably the most angry I've ever been in my entire life. Felt like my entire life up until that point was a lie. Completely lashed out at everything and everyone. Even my own parents. I'm amazed they didn't chuck me out, to be honest. I was so disgusted and sickened by this that I researched the symptoms for Asperger's as soon as I found out, and did my absolute best from that day onwards to stamp out any possible sign of it. And I must have done a good job, because about 5 years ago, when I decided to get a bit of a social life, when I turned around and told people that I was autistic, they didn't believe me. They thought I was being a dick. So I must have hidden it pretty well, at least for some people. Others have been more observant. What I'm going to say next is going to upset some people, but it's never going to change. And admittedly, it's not the healthiest thing. Since I found out I have it, my mind sees it as a disease, an imperfection that needs to be fixed and crushed.